Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam LaCavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
Back when our offense could score. Now give up forever to go back. Back when our offense could score. If this is the closest to the playoffs that we'll ever be, then I don't want to watch anymore. 'Cause all I can see are the false starts, delay of games and incomplete pass. And we knew before halftime it was over, but at least Miles got some more sacks. Leave the rest of the team in Chicago, make them walk home, I don't care. 'Cause this whole organization is broken,
Yes.
and we just got blown out by the Bears.
Shout out to my boy Logan Bruce for that. That is currently going viral everywhere. He has another one that dropped last week. ESPN dropped it, and then they dropped this one. So follow Logan Bruce. He is all over socials. Give him a follow. He outside of the parody stuff, he has good music. It's really good music. He's got a couple of Christmas tunes out now. So give him a follow. He's actually going to be a part of our Saturday show. Big announcement. Sorry, Chad. Him, Mike, and Mike, Sam, and Gary Lee are going to be a part of the Saturday show, Browns Morning Brew. So tune in 10 o'clock, every Saturday. It's a good time. That song gonna ride right into the show where it's a depressing state of affairs here as a Browns fan, where you go into a 0-degree temperature game and the team plays as if they don't care. We're going to get into it. They drop another one, 31-3. With the top storyline coming out of this, Shad, believe it or not, it's not the fact that they got dominated and only scored a field goal, but the wristband gate, right? Wristband gate. Something's up with his wristband, whether it fell out, whether it was Flacco's play calling, whether somebody sabotaged him like Dylan Gabriel, trying to get his position back. Either way, it was a big story here for about 24 hours.
It's funny because I think it's just like the epitome of what's happening with Cleveland Browns media and fan coverage right now. It was kind of the craziest. First of all, it's the weirdest story because like it ended up getting debunked pretty quick. I guess there's stuff all over social media. It went into the sabotage gate, was exploded, like, oh, they're giving him the wrong wristband to screw him over. There was I saw a post right after, like, this is Kevin Stefanski's job is to make sure the players have the right wristband on, as if the head coach has any part at all on, like, there's literally an equipment manager that does a whole equipment staff that does this.
Yeah.
And so in any way, it would be like, okay, some equipment guy is probably fired for like messing that up. The story that people made a huge deal of Kevin not exactly knowing what happened when they had that delay of game. He's like, yeah, there was an issue with Shador's wristband. They got it fixed. I don't know exactly what happened. And people were like, how does the head coach not know this? And I'm like, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter if he comes to the sidelines, like, "My wristband's, like, missing a piece," and they give him another one, but the end in the end, like, I saw podcasts, the Nightcap with Shannon Sharp was on the whole, like, "This is all part of the sabotage."
Yeah.
Thing, which at this point, I'm starting to think even those guys, like,
They
that are
believe it.
really pushing it now, I think some don't. I think some have just been like,
They gotta
"I know what
continue.
happens when I put this as the title," like, "The
Yeah.
Sabotage Continues" is the title of tonight's show, which is
Yeah.
not about the Browns or Sanders, it's about just the entire night of NFL, and, like, they're like, "If I put The Sabotage Continues," so I think there are a ton of people who believe it. I think there's a whole faction of the media that just knows if I lean into this, I'm gonna get so many views.
So many people, so many Colorado Buffalo fans agreeing with me. My algorithm's gonna go crazy and I'm gonna get
And
paid.
so
I
I
agree.
think it's stupid. Obviously, I don't think it's that impactful. Real story came out and Daryl Ryder was the first one I saw to break it that, like, the wristband actually had the play sheet in it the first drive, but it somehow got dislodged after the first drive. So when there was a call that came in, Shador went to look and the play wasn't there. So he had to run to the sideline. And Kevin clarified today, they just gave him Bailey Zappies. They had just grabbed, like, who's closer, Bailey or Dylan, like, get their wristband, and they gave that to him. And then they went on after that play is nothing. The reason I think it's worth mentioning as a story is because it is just a reflection of where the media and fans are on this. Fans are so over everything that's
Yeah.
going on here that it's very easy to believe that they messed up, that it wasn't an accident, that they actually messed it up,
Yeah.
that the head coach was somehow responsible, or that the team is, like, you know, so out of sorts that they can't even get a wristband right, and the media jumped with it so quickly because they know the buzz around the Browns is
Yeah.
mention
They s
Sanders or dysfunction, and we are running, we are
yeah.
on the road, and we are running. So I think
And
it's
it,
like
it's to the fault of the Browns organization since '99. They screw everything up. So this is why it's like one of those things that is believable because you call down on the cell phone to get Johnny
mhm,
Manziel in. You do certain things to you tank 2 seasons to
mhm,
get younger play. I mean, you do these crazy things that people are like, that's not true. They're like, yeah, it is, and they have proof. Like they've done this, so why can't this be true?
right.
But it's
You
one of those
you
things
nailed
that
it.
is just
The
yeah,
idea is you look at something like this, which is a non-story, non-impactful, not really anybody's big fault, could have just been literally him slapping the thing closed and the thing came loose and he's running on some play and it came out. Whatever the case, in a normal organization, somebody texted me, is like, "Here's why this is a problem. Would this have happened anywhere else?" And my response on X was, "If it had, would
you
you
wouldn't
have
have known.
heard about it?"
No, you
And
wouldn't.
and they, like, paused for a minute, like, "I guess maybe not." I'm like, "Yeah, if this happened to Tyler Shuck or if this happened to Matt Stafford, we would have never have known, and
Nope.
nobody would have known because nobody would have cared." This is a story for the Browns because
Of who it
the
is.
because it's the Browns, but also your point is well taken. This is a story for the Browns because dumb stuff like this actually has happened. So and they're so dysfunctional in so many ways, and they're so bad right now that you can actually run with this story, whereas any
Yep.
other organization, pretty much, minus us and the Jets, people would just I don't even think you would hear about this for the Titans because people just don't care to talk about the Titans enough.
Nope.
I think this is a, like, Browns or Jets, and, like, nobody else gets traction, and I think exactly why you said, because they've done so much dumb stuff in the past, and they're in such bad standing right now that it's not crazy to think that this was some kind of giant mistake.
Yeah, and it goes to also to if a different quarterback, let's say Joe Flacco came out with a different wristband. The fact that it was Shador Sanders too adds to it, right?
Right.
Shador,
It's the
they put
Browns
the
plus
wrong
Shador.
wristband. Yeah, they put the wrong wristband on Shador, so that means they don't. Kevin's
Yeah.
trying to make him fail. So it just adds
It's
to the theory of they
yeah.
don't like Shador. They want him to fail. To the fact that they even said, I heard a story. I
Or the
read this
opposite, or
probably.
they love Shador so much that they're sure that the organization is the problem, which is partially true, Like, it's either they hate Shador and they're like, "This is a story because that," or they love Shador, so they're like, "How could they let this happen to Shador? How
Yeah.
could you not give Shador the right respect?" You know? So it's like, it's becoming almost sadly obvious that, like, the people that said that the Browns shouldn't have drafted Shador, which I do not agree with, make that very clear. We all thought for a 5th round pick, trading a 6th and 7th or whatever to get Shador in the 5th, like, that seemed like an easy move if you can get over the media hurdle, like, it but it does seem clear of some of the stuff you were worried about early in the season where because it's the Browns, can they actually handle having this like, it's becoming blatantly clear that this is going to be a tough fit because
Yeah.
so many people are ready to just snap on the Browns, and they're such a polarizing team that having this opposite pole player is just really difficult to come
Yeah,
by.
and we're gonna get into Shador. We're gonna get into the offense. We're getting a game recap, but thank you for everybody tuning in. If you could like, subscribe, hit that follow button, keep on commenting. Let people know that we are here so we can get in and talk about this game. That top story is brought to you by Cleveland Ketchup. Go to clevelandketchup.com to get some ketchup, some mustard, and some chips and mayo. Use the code Bearder for 10% off. Also, another top story this week is the impactful injuries that happened this week, a la Micah Parsons, which you brought up a good point during pre talk. If you want to bring that up about how important, how
Yeah.
giving
I
up
mean, there's
picks for a player like that is crucial.
yeah, this was a crazy impactful weekend, and I caught both those injuries really early. Mahomes, as soon as he went down, I was like,
Yeah,
"That's is gonna be his ACL. He's out for the season and probably a portion of next year." And Micah Parsons, same thing. Tore his ACL. He's gonna be out next year. The more impactful person, obviously, is Mahomes, but the team impact for Parsons is giant because this is the second time that a team gave up multiple first round picks, and in Micah Parsons' case, you can sort of say they gave up 3. They gave up 2 first round picks and a first round a player they drafted 2 years ago in the first round as well to get Parsons. So that's 2 to 3 first round capital for a player that's now out for their attempted Super Bowl run and probably out for a majority of next year, and then they don't have those picks. They don't recoup anything. The same thing happened with the Indianapolis Colts who a couple weeks ago
yeah.
gave away 2 first round picks to get
Daniel Jones. Oh no,
the cornerback, Sauce
Sauce
Gardner.
Gardner. Yeah,
And again, he tore his ACL immediately after, and it just brought to light this idea of we have said so many times the biggest problem with this team, and there's a ton of them, but the overarching umbrella of problems comes from the fact that they gave 3 first round picks and
yep.
change for a quarterback who has since been constantly off the field with suspensions and injuries, reiterating the idea of why I hated that pick. And it's not because I didn't think at the time Watson could be better at than Baker at quarterback. And it's not because I was like, I was very socially nervous about Watson, but that was more as a fan, less as a team build. The team build portion of it is when you put that much capital into one guy, if something happens to him, you have sunk your way out by
Yeah,
giving up all the capital that you need to replace them. And so now we're seeing that happened with the Browns at the most important position on the field. Then we have 2 other examples where people gave up multiple firsts for a guy and he goes down. It is too heavy of an injury sport
Mm,
to put so much of your future into one guy. This isn't basketball where you can be like 3 first round picks and we get LeBron, that changes everything. It's one guy out of 53,
yeah.
one out of your starting 22, and if you give so much capital for them look, Travis Hunter cost 2 firsts and a second for the Jaguars.
And he's
They're
done.
doing just
Yeah,
fine, but they've gotten nothing out of him, and they gave up their chance to pick in the they're so good this year, if they fall short, all they're gonna be thinking is, "Wow, if we add another piece of this team, we could really make a run," and they're not gonna have that first
yeah,
round pick.
yeah.
And it's just like I guess it's just my note to, like, everybody, like, we haven't been lying about that. We haven't been making an excuse for the Browns with this Deshaun Watson thing. When these teams lose players that cost that much of capital,
Yeah.
really, really pay for it.
Yeah, it's bad, really bad, and it's gonna be interesting to see Green Bay going forward, and obviously, Kansas City's already out, so I'm pretty sure they're going to just lose as many and imagine
Right?
them losing as much as they can and actually getting one of those top receivers added on to
Yeah.
where
Well, I
Patty
was just
is.
gonna
That's gonna
say the
be
crazy thing
crazy.
for them is if they weren't out, we would all believe they're out now because Gardner Minshew's not gonna take them anywhere.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes being out, the biggest part of that story is I think 2 teams that are picking ahead of the Browns both play the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have been bad this year with
mm,
Mahomes.
good
Now
point.
you're looking at a team like the,
Raiders?
the Giants and the
Yeah,
Raiders the playing the Chiefs and thinking like, "Okay, well, they're definitely gonna lose those," to now, like, I mean, it wouldn't be shocking to me if the Giants can beat the Chiefs
yeah.
without Mahomes. Like,
And that
it
brings
it
up
does.
to the news of the day. The Browns got their 5th pick, and they have I don't quote me on this, but I saw a 19% chance of getting the 1st pick. That means they actually have a shot of getting the number
Yeah,
1
true.
pick. And you bring up a good scenario where the teams ahead of them, if they play Kansas City, that's a shot where the Browns will lose, obviously, because we suck so bad. We're going to get into that. And then that moves us up to the number 1 pick. And then it's a totally different conversation. Totally different
Yeah.
conversation from drafting a receiver to drafting potentially a franchise quarterback, or did they
Mm.
even ignore that or move
I
down? I mean, there's
forgot to
so many
tell you,
options.
so I should talk to you this before the game. I clicked on Tankathon, so that's what we had earlier in the week. Tankathon has the Browns ahead of the Jets because of the tiebreaker
Yeah,
of
I
strength
forgot
of
about that.
schedule and the head-to-head. So we actually might have already moved up to 4, and the only 2 teams
Yes.
3 teams ahead of us right now are Tennessee, Las Vegas, and New York Giants, and so the mix of the Cardinals, the Jets, us, the Titans, Raiders, and the Giants, like, kind of have this big shuffle over the last 3 weeks. Any of us could end in any position, but to your point, I think Vegas has our highest odds landing at either 2nd or 3rd to end the season. Now, I still think there's a chance we sneak out one more win, maybe against the Bengals or
Yeah.
who knows, but that doesn't count out these other teams from having a chance. Somebody told me I believe it might be the Raiders and the Titans that both still have to play each other. So one of them is taking another win,
Okay. Yeah. So
and then we've
Kansas
got the
City's got the
Bengals.
Titans this week, Broncos the week after, and then they end it with the Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
Titans and Raiders, if they win, that helps you if
Yep.
you lose
And
out.
it is the Giants. It is the Giants and the Titans who have to
And
play each other as well.
so
So,
that there's opportunity here. That's why that percentage is so high for the
yeah,
Browns to get the number 1 pick, and
yeah,
that's gonna be a whole different show when if that happens when the season ends of what we're gonna do with
yeah.
that pick that high.
Yeah, and
But
it is impactful either way. I've said it, before. People are like, "Well, you get that highest pick, you take a quarterback," or I think it's just after seeing what we did last year, I feel like even if we weren't gonna take the quarterback, getting a pick that high now feels like a pretty big piece.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if they not to get too deep into it, but even if they do believe in Shador and they want to help let him grow or blossom, whatever they believe in Shador, I mean, what you can do with that number 1 pick, it gets so
Right.
many picks for that, and then you can build around him. I mean, that's another topic for a different show. But we're about to get into our favorite segment of the week because we lost. We get to do this more often than not. It's brought to you by Allstate Insurance. Give Doug White a call.
Bad.
It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Again, brought to you by Doug White, Allstate Insurance. Give him a call today and let him save you some money right before Christmas so you can buy your kid that PS5 he's been asking for. Come on, spoil your kids. They need more things to throw away or not play
Mhm.
with anymore. Uh, I'll go first, Chad. The first one's good. The only thing when we were talking about in our pre-meeting is the only thing I can think about from this point forward could ever be good on this team is the rookies continue to impact every week. You had Isaiah Bond. We'll get into their numbers. and Fannin later by Isaiah Bond and Fannin this week were impactful, so impactful. The percentage is pretty high on how they impacted the offense, even though they scored 3 points this week. Carson, though he had it graded a little bit lower than typical, his stats were pretty high. And Mike Hall, they had amazing they have amazing young core here. And that's when you think of the draft, not the backpedal here, and you think of what they can do with so many more picks on top of what they did this year is so encouraging to see. But the good for me is definitely the rookie's impact this week. What is the
Yeah.
bad?
Well, the bad is so many things, but at the top of the list is that this game in particular, we got outplayed in all 3 phases of the game, and the reason that's so bad is because almost each week we look at and we say, well, our defense showed up, but our offense and our special teams got outplayed. And then in those very, very rare games like we had against the Titans, where like the offense actually played pretty well and then the defense played, okay, or then the defense and the special teams let us down. And it just seems like each week somebody lets us down, and most weeks 2 sides of the ball let us down. Now we're getting to the point where we're getting beaten by all 3 phases of the game, where our offense is not the best one on the field, our special teams are never the best one on the field, and our defense gets outworked. And so that becomes like an all-time bad when you get to this point in the season, and it felt similar last year where it's just there's no side of the ball that you can look to and say, "Well, at least we have a dominant nothing."
Something. We had a dominant something. At least we can. That's why, like, people make fun of me on Facebook whenever I post, and I make the stuff for even our page. When I keep track of the sack tracker, they're like, "Oh, good, you got 3 wins, but you still Miles." I was like, "Yeah, that's the only thing we can celebrate right now is the fact that Miles is going to break a record."
Yeah, you can
And
only
they're
complain so much. You have to
yeah,
cheer for something on
you
Sunday.
have to
So
be
if we're
positive.
back to the era where we get excited for like a really nice throw or like a really pivotal first down on 3rd and 12, like, okay,
Yeah,
like we're
let us
gonna
be
get
happy.
excited about something because we have so little. Like that's not a
Let us be
problem.
happy. There's some other things that can happen this week. We're going to talk about once we hit the offense. And another thing on the special teams that might happen this week. I got an interesting stat
Mhm.
on that for you guys. So stay tuned. The ugly, they gave up an opening kickoff. That kick special teams again. You're in the ugly. You gave up an opening kickoff that was a 30 yards, a midfield right away, and it just give. Listen, this team didn't want to play in the cold anyways. And then you tried out this special teams, and the Bears came to play. Obviously, they were heated. They were ready. They knew they needed this win to increase their playoff chances or even win the division. So they came to play, and they ran it down your throat the first kickoff. And you can just tell right away, this team was like, man, I'm too cold. Why are we here? I don't want to play. This is the first time this team, defensively, offensively, special teams has always been gone all year long. That I felt they didn't want to play. You just did not want to play. This defense got ran down their throats. Caleb Williams did what he wanted to do with too late. Ugly, ugly game. And again, it started with our special teams every week. It's pathetic. Like, and people complain like Bubba, he's gonna get like you might as well just let the dude play it the rest of the year. I mean, it's only 3 games. I mean, you gotta pay him anyways. Either way.
Yeah.
That is the good, bad, and ugly brought to you by Allstate Insurance Company. Give Doug White a call. Again, it will save you some money. Man, it was very rough watching that game this week. Like I said, but we're gonna get into something really, really interesting here. It's the clip of the week. It's brought to you by Lego Heads, uh, Barber Saloon. Marlon's gonna beat me up when I go and get a haircut next here in a couple of days because I've been saying salon, and every time I do it, he says like, "Bro, like I've been giving you grace. It's saloon, bro. It's saloon." So Lego Heads Barber Saloon, located in Berea, Ohio. It's actually second minutes away from the Browns practice facility. Um,
To go
but
get your hair did.
yeah, get my hair so yeah. So we're gonna get into this. It's the Lego clip of the week. and this is where we're going to talk about Shador a little bit. Um, I'm going to set this up here. He didn't have a good game. It's really it's hard. I say this because I have all the belief in him, and I think he can be successful in this team. But when you see the numbers and when you see the tape, and when me and Chad talked about this for the last couple weeks, like you have to watch the 22. We're going to bring to you tonight, the first time ever. We're going to break down a play to you about what Shador did in the pocket, and we're going to try to run this through as quick as we can, so you can get an understanding of when we say Shador has some things to work on. And I've noticed there's no Colorado Buffaloes in
I was
the other
just
big game.
looking through the
Yeah,
comments. See if we're about to get
there's no
killed.
Buffalo fans in here, Colorado fans. This is what we talk about. So I'm going to pull this clip up.
Before you bring it up, can I say one
Yeah.
thing? Because
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know the direction this goes sometimes when I have this conversation is it's one play. You can't judge him on one play. So first of all, let's just say we're not judging him on one play. We're not judging him on any one play or one game. But just to set up Angel for like this clip that he's about to present, if you watch the all 22 breakdowns like Angel and I do every week with and often guided by multiple guys who know the game just so
Yeah,
well. I like to watch the ones done by the quarterback gurus, the quarterback school, or Chase Daniels, or Kurt Warner. I'll
yep,
sometimes catch Jake Burns, which Angel always catches, and that's probably the
yeah.
most in-depth, most like detailed one I've seen. I just want to point out we picked out a clip, but we could have picked out like 11 plays that
11
look
different plays.
exactly
Yeah.
like this. So this was not a rare one thing we're picking out. This was just which one do we want to choose because about half of his passes looked very similar like this.
Yeah, and by the way, this is not just us. If you go on the internet, people are saying the same thing we're going to say here. So here's the first tape. I think it's like 3rd and 4 here. 3rd and 4. Let me pause this real quick. That happened real quick. So let me rewind this back. Boom, boom, boom. So what you have is you have 3 receivers, tight end there, 3 receiver set. I think that's QJ in the backfield there. So let's play this. So you play it. Pause. Okay, what do you see? Okay, so what I see right away, and this is 2 seconds, 1, 2. 2 seconds into the play, he's got a receiver on top, open, and this guy down here, somewhat open, and then you have your hot route guy on the bottom open. So you have 3 people open within 2.5 seconds of this play. And by the way, we say this every week since Shador has been playing. The average time to get rid of the ball is 2.75 seconds. That is the standard in the NFL. We are at 2 seconds right now, and he is not looking to pass the ball. That is concerning. Okay. So I'm going to play it again. Pause. Pause again. Now you're into 3, 4 seconds. Look, guy in the bottom, wide open. Guy in the top, you can sneak that in there. He's got a good cannon. He can throw that ball. That's a first down. These 2 up top is a first down. If you didn't feel comfortable with those 2 on top, you definitely had to check down wide open.
Yeah,
And
and
that
here's
could have
what
been a
bothers
first
me
down.
the most about this, because I hear this all the time. "Oh, you can always say somebody's open," and I say that all the time too, actually, I should just point out myself. I constantly say this to people, they're like, "Oh, David Njoku was open here." The problem is David Njoku got open, and he, A, may not be the first read, or he may have been an early read and now he's moved on. What bothers me the most about what you're showing is when you see this film breakdown on a full screen, you can tell Sanders is looking
Wide.
directly to the left side of the field. So it's not just that there's guys open, it's that
He sees them.
both the guys that are the most open is exactly where he's looking. He's
Yeah.
looking at them, his feet are set, he's done with his back pedal, and he is set to throw, and then no throw
So, yeah,
comes.
so you have this, and then look at the guy in the bottom. I think that's Judy. He is open. That could be a touchdown. If he looks over there and
Mhm.
quick throws him or leads him to it, that could be a touchdown, or worst case, big 40, 50, 60 yards. Okay. So let's play again. Play. Pause. Pause. Pause.
That's
Look
Bond
at
at
the
the
guy on
bottom. I
top.
think I could
Look at the guy on top. Look at the guy on top. He's
I'm
wide
super
open.
zoomed, and that's Bond, yeah.
Yeah, Bond. Bond is wide. And by the way, he's been throwing bombs to Bond lately. wide
And
open on the bottom.
and he loves that throw, and it bothers me that I feel like sometimes he's waiting for that throw because right now, if you look, one of the 2 guys, in fact, depending on how fast you can get this ball out, the
You got the
the
two
this
guys on the
this
bottom,
first
man.
level guy is open. If you can wing it to him, you can get it to him. This second level guy past the 30-yard line, he's not open anymore. Like Shador has weighted him closed. So
Yep.
he was breaking open and available, then he was wide open and available. Now he has gotten too close to the defender. He's through
Scared.
his gap in the uh in the zone, and now you are kind of concealed to either a short dump off or just launching it with a
Again,
prayer.
yes, the dump off has been open every time, and he's not looking at that. Bond is open. You have a guy on top, but you can able to hit that real quick. If you don't have to lead him, you can just zip it in there, and that's
Yep.
a first down midfield.
So I
And
can
what
see
it gets worse. Yeah,
Fannin. This
Bannon.
is Malachi Corley down low in the
Okay,
center of the field on the
okay.
25, and it's
Yeah,
Bond breaking open by the 40.
it's it's insane. He's open, and
Mhm.
here it is. Wait, boom. But he's still holding on to the ball. We are
And then look up
5.
top. We just talked about look up top to I think this is Judy up now at like the 35, sees that Sanders is extending the play, and he starts to take off.
Throw it. Throw it.
You
I mean,
gotta
you have
wing it.
2 guys, you have 1 guy back here, and you have 2 guys here. You have 2 receivers, 1 guy back there. That's a first down. This is a third down play. I think it was 3rd and 5. All you needed technically was a check down. You already got the first down, kept the play alive.
Mhm.
If worst yeah, I mean, that's worst case. Best case, you have 2 guys open, and you're 5 seconds holding the ball. You're 5 seconds in this play. Continue. Holds it, and sacks. Sacks, and
Yeah. So again, the to me, what's relevant about this play is I watched Chase Daniel break down his whole like game of throws, and this was happening over and over. And even on some of the throws he made, Chase was saying things like, "So this is his third read. He's looking for Fannin. In the meantime, he's had 2 other open, good option receivers, and the one
instead
he
he
threw to
catches it.
Fannin ends up completed, and he's like, "But he shouldn't have even thrown that. It was he's very fortunate it didn't get picked, and
Mm,
instead, like, he completes a pass or it's incomplete, but he gave up 2 better opportunities on the route to find who he sort of really wanted to look for, and I would almost call that pressing. He's looking to make he's either looking for Fannin or he's looking to make the bigger throw, and we've seen this from other guys. The problem is our offensive line has some shake in it, and the thing he needs to do now is just not play hero. We
yep.
know where the season is going. Progress in your own personal growth and make these
Mhm.
passes.
So, here's what makes it worse. You're at the 20. He's 6 yards back, and by the time he gets sacked, dude, you're at the 10. I mean, you're 10 yards back. You're minus 10 yards. Throw it away. I mean, if
Mike
you
says, Judy, Mike says,
if
Judy, if he catches it.
yeah,
Yes,
Judy.
I know. Throwing it to Judy at this point is just a 50-50 shot.
Yeah. Yeah, so and just to give you a still shot, I took a still shot. Look, and this is where he should have thrown. It's between 2 and 3 seconds into the play. You got a guy open on the bottom, Bond.
Huh?
You got Judy on top, and you have your tight end on the bottom.
And to
And you
me, the
even
red
have your
one is the one I brought up. It bothers me because the receiver's looking, he's looking, he doesn't
and he
release
doesn't
it,
pull the
and then
trigger.
immediately after, you don't even have a line to this guy up by the 25. Immediately after, he breaks open on an in-breaking route, and Sanders is still looking up there, and I'm just wondering, what is
What was
he
he seeing?
what is he waiting on? Yeah,
Yeah.
what is he
I mean, that is
think
that
he
is
might
an easy
happen?
catch and pitch and catch. You just throw it. Judy's got the first down. Most likely, like Mike said, true. Good point. If he catches it, he can probably make a play because he has that
The
Euro step that he practiced in Vegas. Maybe he been working on that to improve. You know, either way, you this is where like as a fan, as someone who advocates and who loves him, needs to get better at. He just
and
needs
I
to get
would
better.
say this too is this season is a lost season, guys. The goal somebody said we argued it, and I'm sure it'll come up sometime, so I might as well bring it up. He threw that interception to Jerry Jeudy that I actually thought was a catch initially because it was right to Jerry Jeudy. This team doesn't give a shit about the interception number that goes with that play. And so, you say you throw it to Jeudy, it's a 50-50 whether he catches it. This team is not grading this team anymore. This team
Yeah.
is grading Shador Sanders and these young guys. This team no longer cares what Wyatt Teller is doing or what Jack Conklin is doing. This team cares what the guys who are going to be on this team next year, especially the quarterback, is doing. And so if Shador throws it to Jeudy and he drops it, the coaches don't care. I don't care. I mean, at the moment I do. At the moment I'm cussing at the TV and Jerry Jeudy. The moral of the story is, though, people are gonna act like, well, that will register as an incomplete pass. Kevin Stefanski doesn't care. Andrew Berry doesn't care. Tommy Reese doesn't care. The people looking at Sanders are gonna go plus for
Yeah.
Sanders. That was the correct read, the correct pass. You made a good throw. That's a plus play for the quarterback. These teams grade players play by play like PFF does. They're not gonna grade the stats. They're gonna grade if a if who was it? When Joe Flacco threw those 3 interceptions and all 3 of them bounced off our receivers' hands, Joe Flacco doesn't get the bad grade for that. The receivers do. So we're at
Receivers
the
do.
time of the year where Sanders has to know he's playing for his job, and I don't want him to feel too much pressure, but he has to already know. He commented this week on the press conference, "Are you worried about losing your job?" And he said, "You should always be worried about losing your job. This is the
Yeah.
NFL. Like, I haven't earned a permanent starting job." So
Yeah.
he
I
knows
want
it,
to.
but my point is he needs to make these plays for his own development, and we don't have to worry about the outcomes. We just have to worry about, did he do his part on this play?
Yep. Earl brings up something here. He says, "What rookie quarterback has reads down pat 4 games into it?" That's what we're saying. We're not asking him to read anything. It's as simple as seeing Judy open and throwing it. That's a
Right.
simple read, and that's probably his first read, by the way, because Judy's wide receiver. I would assume because Bond's on the bottom. He's doing a deep route. Obviously, it's a
Yeah, he looked like he
simple.
was reading that one top to
Yeah.
bottom.
Because he was literally looking at him the whole time. So that's my like, I don't expect him to read Bond over there yet. Yeah. Or
Yes.
I expect him 2 things, check down and my first read. Check down and my first read right now. That's what I'm expecting. And he didn't do that. Matter of fact, he did worse. He went 10 yards back and got a sack.
Yeah. And here's our other thing is we don't expect him to make every one of these plays and have the reads down. What we expect is game by game. I mean, everybody came out and said all he needs is some first team reps, and we never thought that was true. We thought, yeah, that helps, but he also needs a lot of improvement on his own game. What we're looking for now is the same thing the Browns are looking for. Game after game after game, is he seeing these same problems on film and being able to come back the next week and fix them?
Yep.
I don't care that he didn't make all these reads in his first game, his second game. It looked like that Titans game, things kind of clicked and people treated it like a breakdown. We said the whole time, beware of the fact you played
Beware.
the
Yeah.
32nd best team in the league at the time he had that good game, because did he figure all that stuff out, or did he just finally have such a low opponent he didn't need to? This was the reality check of, oh, you played the biggest cupcake in the league last week, and this week you played a really tough challenge, and the game presented exactly the problem. Now, we don't need him to fix every one of these, but there's like 11 examples where he did what Angel
Yeah.
just walked you guys through. What we need to see is next week he goes out against the Bills, who do not have the same defensive level as the Bears. Neither do the Steelers, in my opinion, even though they're the closest we'll probably see. And the Bengals are not good on defense and haven't been all season. So what we need to see is like, okay, we didn't see it this week. Will we see it over the next 3 weeks? Because he's literally playing to either win a game and take us out of position to draft a quarterback, or play so well and show so much promise that they make the internal decision to not take another quarterback and build around him.
Yep.
And he's sort of in control of that situation, but he's not going to do it by just holding onto the ball and making 2 big giant plays to Judy and Bond. He's going to earn that on a play to play basis, making just the correct and easy reads on these plays. That's what the
Yeah.
coaches want.
Kenny said he had a bad game. He had a bad game. No one is saying he played good. People need to be patient. He will be better. And the one thing the guy has is guts, and he has drive more than any quarterback that played for the Browns. I
Maybe,
110% agree with you. I said that
maybe.
last week, and I'll say that again. He does have drive. He does have gut. And we will be patient. But at the same time, as a podcast of fairness, we did this for Dylan. So we
Yeah.
have to do it for
Kenny, for the record, both Kenny and Earl, yeah, we were exactly as critical as to Dylan, and we didn't hold back there. And I just think the respectable thing about both your guys' comments is you're not coming out and saying like, "Well, none of it was his fault." Like Kenny's right; he had a bad game, and if you can just take that and accept that, and then like look at it piece by piece to decide, well, okay, well then what does he have to do to have a better game next week? That's the idea. What we're doing
sure.
is what he is probably doing in the building, and Kenny's right. He's There's nothing about this kid right now that makes me think he's going to crumble or fold or give up or not try hard. He's As much as people want to compare him to Johnny Manziel because he's famous and he's struggling, he's not the same person because I've never once heard that he doesn't put in the work. And
Yeah.
so that doesn't mean he will get it, but it certainly gives him the best shot.
100%. We're going to get into the game recap. We're going to start with offense first since we're talking about the offense. Let's just one more thing about Sanders, and we can move on. A couple of things actually. 3.39 seconds is the average time he has to throw. That's too long. His average time to throw is 3.39, which ranked the highest of all quarterbacks if he had enough qualified starts. Most of these quarterbacks get a ball out of their hands under 2.7 seconds. I've been saying that since he's been in the team. That's something we've been saying consistently that he struggles with is getting the ball out of his hands quickly. And I'll end it on a positive note with Sanders. His sack avoidance rate is pretty elite. Despite all the pressure, Sanders has been sacked only 15.7% of his dropbacks when pressured. He's ranked ninth best out of 44 quarterbacks with at least 100 plays in action. This means he's actually good at avoiding the sack when the pressure arrives. When I saw that, I thought of the Tennessee game when
It's a
his
little up
shirt
and down
got
too
ripped up.
because when he does take a I would say, first of all, great point, and that is the thing he has improved on the most. He does not take nearly as many sacks as I thought he would, and he doesn't take as many bad sacks. The negative is when he takes a sack, like you
It's
laid out in
gone.
that
Yeah.
show, he takes a rough sack. The
Yeah.
good news is he doesn't take as many as I thought, and that was a big thing he's obviously been working on with the coaches because that's not something you can just practice on your own. You need to do that in two ways. One, speeding up your ability to decide what to do in the pocket. Two, working with the coaches to like know when to step up, when to step back. And I guess there's even a third. This one's more just his natural, but he has a really natural ability to kind of flow with the game. I think that's
Yeah.
just like he has a natural ability to kind of make a throw when it looks like there's one not there, and he has a very natural ability for a guy who's not even a plus athlete who's just an average athlete. He moves very fluidly, and his feet are becoming less hectic film by film. So there's still a ton to clean up, but he's definitely cleaning up his in pocket movement. He's
Yep.
doing less drifting, less running backwards. He still bails a little early, but he also has just as many instances where he does step up or stays strong in the pocket. And that's almost what makes it weird because I watch him hold strong in the pocket to where he could make some of these throws. Then when he hesitates on him, he takes a big hit because
Yeah.
he just didn't quite release fast enough.
Yeah. The Browns
But
offense in general was not good. 57 total yards in the first half, their fewest
understatement.
yards. Yeah. Fewest and a half this season, the lowest since week 9 of 2024. You guys remember that year? That was last year. Horrible year. Even more alarming, they had just one first down the entire first half. Their fewest since week 1 against the 2024 Dallas Cowboys. They ran a lot of 2024 references. So that shows you how bad 2024 was. If 2025 is bad and you compare it to last year, that means this year is a lot worse. Chicago had the ball for twice as long than Kevin. The opening drive drought. I don't know. I didn't realize this until I was looking into it. It's 6 games. They have not scored in their opening drive in 6 games. Last time insane, 6 games. Offense
And they used
sucks
to
right
be,
now.
by the way, this used to be one of their biggest Kevin's first, like, 3 years, one of the
Yep,
biggest things people said was, "He's an incredible game planner,"
scripted plays.
because he was in the top of the league at scoring on the initial drive, and now that is just all but collapsed.
It's poop. Sanders, 18 of 35, 177 yards, 13 interceptions, 3 interceptions. Can you imagine if you do 13 interceptions? That would be insane. And 5 sacks. People are like, don't make it worse, man.
And
Uh,
honestly, save the one of those interceptions was Judy's fault because anybody that watched the game, including us, know that. But when you watch the film breakdown and you see 3 other times when the ball went right in the
yeah.
defender's hands and they dropped it, you feel like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
he
feel
threw
the
about 6
linebacker.
turnover-worthy plays.
Yeah, I feel
So,
the one the linebacker made was a really good play. He got his
it
hand
was a
up
great play.
and yeah. So I mean, you
It was
give
a
and
good play.
take. He also had 4 turnover worthy throws. So I mean, still, he
Also,
probably would have still got that.
that's something that I expect will develop for time. That was on a play action pass, and he threw it as soon as he turned his head, and he's
Yeah.
just probably not savvy enough yet to turn his head and catch that drifting linebacker. He thought he'd
Another
lob it over his head, and he just
yeah,
misread it.
another another positive note. He led the team on rushing this week with 24 yards back to back weeks.
He's got a knack for movement.
He's got and that's something that is really good to see now, and then hopefully, God willing, they'll fix the line
Yeah.
next year. So maybe that's another arsenal that the defense is. This is
It
why I'll go
it's
on record.
twofold.
I was on I did my own podcast this past weekend on Friday, and I'm on record saying not if they get the first pick, this is gonna be hard for them to pass up, I'm sure. Just go in the next year with Shador and give him talent. I think if you give him a line, you give him talent. I mean, he's doing great things with Bond, and Bond came in week 1 cold, and Bond seems to be improving with them. They seem to be building chemistry. Give him talent, and I think he'll get better, than what we're going to see. So that's just my take on that.
No, I
That's
think
it.
that's fair, and I think, like I said, it's twofold. 1, he is a quarterback whose tendency naturally is to hold the ball long, and he's playing with a line that doesn't give him that kind of time. And people will say, "Well, give him the line, he'll be fine." But the reality is it has to be both. He has
Yeah,
to get better and be
100%.
able to play with a line that might have some leaks because no matter what in his career, there's gonna be times where the line has leaks. And B, yeah, the Browns need to also improve their line, but you could say that there's not a quarterback in the league that isn't better with a better line. So what Sanders has to do is just be the best version of himself and improve the most he can behind this line, and then imagine when he has a better line, how much more he can succeed. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm with you on that though. I think he didn't have a good game. He showed a flash or two. You cannot survive on a flash or two. But I guess if you're looking for silver linings, you see a guy who's improving in some areas. Don't worry about the stat line as much as he's taking less sacks. Now, can he continue to cut those down? He's holding the ball a little bit long. Can he continue to chip off a half a second on that over the next 3 weeks? And then he has some natural, just offensive awareness, it factor, downfield playmaking ability, but he needs to focus on those fundamentals. He needs to do the basics just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I've said the whole time, he's sort of in the driver's seat because the best scenario in every case is if he plays well, because then he has a chance to get traded somewhere better, or he gets a chance to just stay this team's set starter, or he gets a chance to take them
Compete.
out of the running for another quarterback just by winning maybe one more. The Browns
Yeah.
win one more game, they probably can't draft a quarterback. So Sanders, like we always talk about this tanking, Sanders is the last person on this team tanking. He needs to win because if we upset the Steelers or the Bengals, we probably fall to 5th and then we can't draft a quarterback. And so he sealed himself as the starter by winning a game. But also, even if that doesn't happen, if he shows enough, it will leave the Browns in a position where they can say, "We love Mendoza, but he went first. We like Moore, but we don't we're not locked on more. So maybe we trade out of that position to somebody that wants more, and we
Yeah.
have all these assets to build around Sanders. And if he works, great. If he doesn't, we have now built a spot where we could plug someone else in. And it's just him playing well leads to so many other options. Whereas if he plays bad, then you're like, well, God, I hope we can get a quarterback. I hope
Yeah.
we lost enough games to get a quarterback. Because if he's not the guy, you're thinking, and we don't need to see it this year. We just need to see the signs of it.
Yeah, we need to see improvement, and we've seen it with Tennessee. I see a
We
little bit
don't need to
even with
see anything.
Chicago.
We
I
Andrew
mean,
Berry, we
yeah,
don't need to see anything. But
you're right.
yeah,
They need to. But as a fan, I would like to also. You know what doesn't
I
help
agree.
a rookie quarterback? 6 penalties before halftime. The Browns were flagged 6 total penalties in the game before the quarter alone was done. False start against Harold Fanning in the opening drive. Too many men in the huddle on the opening drive. Delay a game wristband issue on the second drive and false start against Gage late in the first quarter.
Can I just say this though? Because I hate the penalties. I think the penalties are the problem. We blame the coach for the penalties, and I do think that is a fair one of the. I'm always talking about the unfair criticisms on the coaching, and I'm not saying they don't get deserve criticism. They do. I
Yeah.
just think sometimes we give them the wrong criticism. Like we assign you just like it would be like giving the criticism to Shador Sanders on that Jerry Judy touchdown. That was a brilliant throw. The great. It was a it was a good time to throw. It was a very worthy risk. It was an excellent throw, and Jerry Judy just coughed it up to the defender. So in the same way, I want to make sure we give the right
Yes.
criticism to the right person. And in this case, the one thing I can say for Tommy Reese and Kevin Stefanski, who are both in charge of the offense, is if I read it right, every penalty in the first quarter or the first half of this game was either by a rookie or a first time
Yeah.
starter.
Yeah.
And that is tough to be against a opponent on the road who's in
0
the
degree
first place and
temperature.
is making a Super Bowl run in less than 0 degree temperature. And then you have all of these guys that are 22, 23 years old that have some. I mean, the crowd is going crazy. You're in a tough spot. So like I give a little leeway when it's a bunch of rookies on the road who make penalties, more so than when Jedrick Wills last year kept false starting at home, and you're like, so that it just resonates to me different. So I would say
Yeah.
I don't even it needs to get cleaned up, but the least of my worries is that rookies and first time starters are making offensive mistakes. Like
If they're
there's
not
bigger.
making offensive mistakes, they're also helping your offense, and that's what we're gonna get into right now. You got 2 bright spots on the offense that has helped your team. We're gonna start with Harold Fannin. He had 7 receptions. I actually think he was targeted like 11 times actually for 48 yards. One more catch. He is currently he tied the Cleveland Browns season rookie reception record. I was hoping that he would catch it. I had everything set up to post. I did. I sent it to you guys earlier. I was like, post this on X if it happens. He'll probably break it next week against Buffalo. One more catch at rookie record. He was good. Isaiah Bond Jr., 2 catches, 89 yards. Guys, that's a total of 137 yards. Out of the 177 yards of that game came from those 2 alone. And they are just rookies. And this is what I said in my last podcast on Friday night. Do you give Kevin another shot? It's part of the reason is because you have rookies who are trying to make plays on offense. And again, as we can see against Chicago, sometimes it doesn't work out if we're relying on rookies to play.
Yeah. I've come to the conclusion, and we've talked about this. I've been one of Kevin's bigger defenders because I just think that nobody without a franchise quarterback and a good enough cast can succeed. But then I came around through the season to the idea that after 2 seasons this bad, if they fire him, I'll say it was justified. He had his chance to keep his job and he didn't. But to your point, the one shining light is that the rookies who we all think are pretty good are excelling and developing. And if there's any way he's going to keep his job, it's that Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam and some of these powers that make these group decisions go, I mean, the team looks like crap, but the guys who are part of the future look good, haven't given up on him, are still progressing, and one of those is definitely Harold Fannin, who is just a notch on Andrew Berry's belt. Let me go through a couple numbers with you real quick. So Harold Fannin, as of today, I believe, has 66 receptions. Is that right?
Yep.
If he continues on pace, here are the people that he will pass by the end of the season for the rookie reception leads. He's already far surpassed guys like Ozzie Newsome in the Browns record for yardage, and he's coming up on receptions. The guys ahead of him right now, he's in 2 catches, he passes Kyle Pitts, who I know people have been critical of him, but his rookie season, he had like 1,100 yards in 68 catches. He was incredible. So he's about to catch Kyle Pitts. He is about 7 catches away from catching Dalton Kincaid. He's close to catching Jeremy Shockey of the Giants from 2002. And if he ends the season on the streak he's been on, and I believe he will because he's actually been catching more passes from Sanders than he was from the other quarterbacks, he will fall behind Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta in receptions, and that
Pretty
is
good.
it. That is
Pretty good.
2 of the best rookie receiving tight ends we have ever seen, and he'll be sitting right behind them. And those guys were picked early in the second round and early in the first round. And I mean, he's ahead of guys like Tyler Warren, guys. That dude is a friggin' beast who was picked like 14th or something. Like, it's just incredible what he's doing out there.
Yeah, he's special, man. It's third round. I keep on saying, man, they got him in the third.
Yeah.
That's
That's
just
all according to
amazing.
StatMuse. Yeah, they picked
Yeah,
him 67th.
that's that's good. Next point. Does Junkins suck? Because he's dropped. We talked about this a little last week, how he dropped in percentage per
It
yard.
was a
And
rough day to watch Quinshon Judkins put up 24 yards or whatever he put up, while
actually less
Travion
than
Henderson put up like 150
100,
yards,
2
2
touchdowns.
touchdowns
Yeah.
against the Bills.
Yeah, you're like, I saw someone said the Browns got it wrong. They should have drafted Henderson. And I'm thinking like, friggin', they
They're
have a
both very
quarterback.
talented, by the way. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they had
both very
yeah,
talented.
like give
They do very different things, but it
yeah,
was a rough day to see Henderson have his absolute best
21 points.
game and Judkins have his absolute worst. It
Yeah,
looked
he averaged
like
1
they
point.
started here and they're like,
Dude, his longest run was 4 yards.
yeah,
Jeez, that's yeah. And again, as you're comparing apples to oranges when you compare the 2 right now, at least, because once they get that line as good as New England, and if you get a quarterback where you're gonna have to respect the run like you do,
not to
I mean, the
mention
pass.
we talked about this before. Judkins was picked because he does a very specific thing well. He's patient, he reads the line, and he can make one cut and explode. Henderson is getting a lot of his runs on like broken plays when he runs, he gets a screen or he runs into a wall and just bounces it out and goes the other way. And that is not Judkins' game. And like I think they kind of drafted Judkins over Henderson with the
Yeah.
intent of we're gonna have a certain blocking scheme, and it's going to fit what Judkins does. The problem is none of those people are playing anymore except for Joe Batonio, and he is still probably our best lineman, but he is a shell of the Joel Batonio that used to be an elite pulling guard.
Yeah, James in the chat said, "Is can Harold get 1,000 yards?" Unlikely. He's at 667, I believe, right now.
No, but he
I
can
could
get
be
to
a
like
little.
I mean, I bet he could get to like 800 and if you get to the 800,
Yeah,
that's an
yeah,
elite
that's still
for a
good.
rookie. For a
Yeah,
rookie, that is elite tight end numbers. Like these
yeah,
other guys we're talking about that got those 1,000 yards, like Kyle Pitts was a top pick in the entire draft,
yeah. And
and then
this
he
is a
went
third
to a
round guy.
team that could immediately utilize him. And he
Thank
went to a
goodness.
good by the way, he went to a good offense. Doesn't even matter that he was an elite pick. These all of these other guys, Tyler Warren is on the Colts offense. Their offense has been awesome. Now, Brock Bowers is on a poop Raiders offense for 2 years, but like Dalton Kincaid is a Buffalo Bill. He has veteran. He doesn't just have. He has veteran Josh Allen throwing to him. Sam Laporta is getting thrown to by Jared Goff on an
Goff.
offense that is loaded
Right.
with talent, and
Yeah.
nobody can, like, focus on him, and so it's just a different thing. What Fannin is doing is as impressive or more impressive than those guys, given what's happening around him.
I agree. All right, we're gonna be back right into the defense. We're defense time. Let's get into the defense. Uh the defense.
Not yeah, usually
Yeah, the
this is the part
defense.
where we're like, "Okay, well, let's end on a higher note," but we
Yeah,
do
the
have some
defense.
positives, but overall, not great.
Yeah. So with the defense, like you you go into this game thinking, well, it's not going to be bad because the defense is going to be able to stop them at
I think I
least.
picked 14 to 17
Yeah,
for my
I
score
did
for this game.
21-14 or
I was
something
like,
like
the
that.
defense will keep them. The keep defense
Yeah,
will keep Chicago under 20, and they'll get to Caleb Williams.
yeah.
So
It's confusing. And again, it goes back to when people say Schwartz should take over for Kevin. And I've been staying on saying, y'all overhype Schwartz because when he goes up against a guy as smart as somebody like the Bears coach, just his mind just escaped me. And when he goes against an offensive guy who's a head coach, I'll give you examples like Kyle Shanahan, he's pretty good with, but he lost with this year. Uh, Anybody with an offensive mind that is pretty decent, he struggles with. Anyone that knows
and
how to do a screen pass.
that's not that that's only a handful of teams, but we've
Yeah.
played a lot of them.
Yeah, we play a lot of them. Yeah, for sure this year.
He's
Um,
gonna struggle against the Rams, and he's gonna struggle against the Bears, and he's gonna struggle against the Niners, and he is gonna struggle against these guys that can offensively scheme around what you do best because we do one thing incredibly well. And to be fair though, the reason I agree with Angel, like he's not in a position to take over this team as an interim coach. He was not a good head coach. I don't know that he wants to be a head coach, and he hasn't shown that he's been able to, like, make this defense run the team. It's not like it's the 2000 whatever 2 Ravens or whatever that year that was. Like, they're not there. To Angel's point, like, we probably should take a deep breath, but in his defense, we were down 14 to nothing almost to start, and he doesn't have the kind of defense that can just tee off when we're not in at least an even game.
I mean, they generated 22 pressures on Caleb Williams, pressuring him 52% of the time on 42 dropbacks. That's actually pretty impressive. The problem is Caleb
Mhm.
Williams is elusive. He can get away.
Yep.
Um,
Miles mentioned it after the game. He's
yeah,
really difficult to tackle.
he's difficult to tackle. He's got a great arm. Did you
He is
see that
what
play?
He is the elusiveness that Shador Sanders came into the league, I think, thinking that he was.
Yeah, and he's I
And he's
mean,
quickly
he's
learning, like, I should probably handle this slightly differently.
yeah, he's impressed. He's from last year to this year. I mean, obviously the coach has a lot to do with it. The offensive system favors him well. And by the way, when you have a quarterback like him, y- you can pick whatever coach you want, and they'll come to you. I mean, that is just yeah. He was that pass he threw to Moore was just at toward the end of the game. There was just I was like, that's it. This guy
Window
is
pass.
pretty
Just
well.
a
Yeah.
window pass, like, closing, closing, closing.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty bad. Browns converted they 14. Yeah, their third down percentage. They were able to eat up them on third down. The run game, they again run on this defense. You can do that, especially in the cold. I don't know why. Um, Miles gets another sack, which is a good thing. What is he 1 away, 1.5 away from getting the
One and a
record?
half away. Yeah, he's at 22. He needs 1.5 to tie, two to take it.
Yeah.
Um, he's also
Um,
it's not talked about enough. He's also right there, a couple tackles away from the tackle for loss record, which, by the way, both of those are owned by JJ Watt, which is just crazy to me.
yeah.
Like, I almost forget how good JJ Watt was at this game.
Yeah, and they were able to get that sack and force a field goal, and it's like you saw the good things, and they were the
Mhm.
Browns only
The
had like what
flashes, though.
Yeah, it's like they're only down 14-0. They should
The
Bears
defense
should be up
now
by like
looks like Sanders, where you're
yeah.
like, we see these flashes of greatness, but then when you look at the whole picture, you're like, it's just not good enough.
Yeah,
The
it's
difference
just not
is
there.
Sanders is a baby that just has to learn. This defense is a veteran for the most part, who I think is just lost their juice. They're frustrated. They just don't have the same energy and like oomph that they have when we still have a chance. They've just seen their efforts not pay off so many times, and they have let us cut down a couple times. I'm not going to let them off the hook. There's been 2 or 3 games where I'm like, y'all needed to step up and we win that game. But I
Yeah.
think this game was the first one we mentioned earlier during the ugly that they looked like that first kickoff got returned to like the 50 and they trotted out like, Jesus Christ, can we even catch a break on the first opening drive of the game? They're already almost in field goal range. Like, you just see it now, like you saw it last December, where they don't have the reason to fight the way that a defense needs to fight. Like, offense needs to be more precise. Defense needs to battle, and I think they're just done. And you said earlier, except Miles, but Miles is the one guy with an individual accolade. And I'm not saying they're quitting. I'm not saying they've given up. I'm just saying they just
Seems like
don't have the juice and the energy. And it seems palpable that they are when we I'm starting to realize when that opening kickoff happened and I look around the Browns backers bar and all of us are like,
all crazy.
"Oh, what a terrible, like, start to the game." Like, that's what's going through their head. Like, what we're feeling, I think, has finally caught up to them where they're like,
Yep.
"Oh my gosh," or Sanders throws his 2nd interception, and they're like, "What? Here we go again." Like, there's just no getting away from, like, the dreary feeling of defeat or, like, that terrifying feeling that there's just nothing you no matter what you do, like, it's just inevitably you're going to lose this game, and it's gotta be tough, and when it's 2 degrees outside and everything hurts, and it's late in the season, I can see why nobody has the oomph, and it's a bummer because I just believe that this defense, though not perfect and needs to be able to learn to do more well than what they do, until they're in a position where they feel like they've got a shot and they're fighting for something, you're just wasting some of their best years.
Wasting away. We'll move on to Carson Schlesinger. He had his worst week, but yet he had our best week as a defender. That makes sense. He graded out poorly, but his stats, you would have never guessed it. You'd have been like, "What do you mean he had this
Yeah,
grade on
and he
PFF?"
only graded out poorly for him, so news to everybody out
His
there,
standard.
PFF had him as our highest graded defensive player for the game, just ahead of Ronnie Hickman, Mike Hall Jr., and Myles Garrett. Um, but it was his probably lowest grade of this entire season because he's just been like it's one of his
Yep.
not probably not his lowest, but it was one of his worst games where he, like, had some big misses. He got plowed over once or twice, but the numbers are still there. He continues to put up digits.
I'm gonna agree with my guy here. Oh, where'd he go? Man, moving everywhere. Earl. He says, I'm saying that the defense has quit, checked out, gone fishing, and are currently roasting marshmallows over a campfire. I'm with you on
I don't
that.
think they're purposely like, "I quit." I just think they're like us, where they're like, "Wow, like, they
Well,
just
what's the
don't have
point?
anything left. Yeah, they
And I
yeah.
think what adds to the layer is the fact that it was -0. I was like -10. Like, and then you go out there and you try, and you're down 14-0 in the blink of an eye. And you're like, why? Why am I
They
doing
feel
this?
like I would feel if I've already put in my 2-week notice, and now I've got 2 more weeks of work, and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go," but, like, don't I'm probably not feeling like my most driven to get the job done.
I'm actually
That's
that's
like
how I feel this week because next week I'm on vacation. So this week I'm like, "Come on,
yeah,
let me
it's
get through this."
Christmas, it's
Yes, let
cold,
me get
the
this.
season is lost, they have
It's
3
definitely
wins.
cold here too.
At this
Like,
point at this point, unlike the offense, I mean, Judy should be driving, the linemen, the young guys, uh, Sanders above everybody. Like, this offense needs to grind. Most of the
Yeah.
guys on the defense are like, "Yeah, good luck drafting somebody who's gonna take my spot." Like, that there's probably, like, 2 guys on our defense that are replaceable. Everybody else, we don't have the guns to replace most guys on this
No.
defense, so
That's why
they're in
when
a
people
different
say
spot.
bench, when people are like, bench shooter, he sucks," like, who you gonna replace him with?
You're
Like,
gonna throw out Jamari
you
Thrash, you cut him this
yeah,
week, you brought
right,
him back,
and
like,
now you just brought him back, like, come on, like, Tillman, he's
but
probably can test
Judy
get
has
his
played
feet
his
up
way into the Browns needing to that's what we say.
as a
Judy has
receiver.
played his way this season into the Browns needing to draft a receiver to be their number 1, and if he
Yep.
had a better year, they might be thinking, "Let's look for a receiver in the 2nd or 3rd," but there's a very good chance they are heavily scouting the 1st round guys
Yeah.
because Judy has let them down. Sanders is in that same position is that he's actually showing some things that may cause them to think the other way. Maybe
Mhm.
we don't need to go all in. I would say at this point, what Sanders has done is made it so I feel very unlikely that they'll trade those 2 first round picks for a
Or
quarterback
yeah,
like I used to
yeah.
think they would.
If they're in the
I
position to get one, sure, but if they're out of the window, they're not gonna do what they did with Deshaun because they learned from that.
if if Sanders looked like he did the first 2 weeks that he was out there, I would have said, expect them to go all in on a quarterback. He's done enough now where I'd say, expect
I'm
if a
interested.
quarterback lands to 3, they might take him, and if over the next 3 weeks he does more, you might say, expect that they'll trade out of 3 now
I would
because
even I'm on the I'll say this all for the rest of the season until next year. I'm on the board regardless of where you're at. Get picks, invest in Shador, develop him because I really think this kid can be something. I don't know Tom Brady special, but special enough to where he can get you wins when you're
yeah,
down. He can drive last 2-minute drives. He
yeah.
can be that spark, and I hate that terminology. He's your spark. I hate that
No,
terminology.
you do see it though, like, when people,
Yeah,
like, say that are they he's got the it factor, he's got these it's like, you actually get it when you're talking about him. I'm not there yet with you where I'm like, he's got it because I don't think you can live in those moments of, like, he can bring you back here and there, but I I will say I get why so many people do think that. I
mhm.
think it's a fair thing. I'm just not much of a hope and faith
I'm on
guy,
board, man.
but I can see why people are, uh, like, why he's magnetic and why people are drawn to that the idea of okay, and I'll say this, I've come around to the idea that if by chance we pick 3rd and the Jets take Mendoza 1 and the Raiders take Moore 2nd, I'll be like, "Okay, get your guys and let's
Give me
go."
tape.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I won't be like, "Well, it's all a loss." I'll feel like, "Well, you've got Watson still on this team as your veteran. You've got Sanders, who you've got a lot of hope for developing, and Dylan is
Worst
who's
case, you
probably
got
gonna be
Dylan.
what we always thought. Well, he's
Yeah,
probably what we always thought. He's probably sitting
backup.
there as your
Yeah.
backup, and you're like, "Okay, let's roll." So, like,
I'm
I've come around to,
yeah.
like, if it doesn't happen with a top quarterback, like, keep building. Let's go.
Yeah, I hope by the end of the year and in the next 3 weeks that you can
Yeah,
be on the submarine for Sanders train.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
and
going to be in
by
the
the time
sub I'm gonna sink in the submarine with Sanders. Sub for Sanders.
I'll say, yeah, I'll say at least I think my point is where I feel comfortable.
Yeah,
Like, I see it,
you're good.
we'll see, and
You wanna
I'm
see
not
more.
sold, but I also am much more comfortable with if we
Waiting.
went forward, like,
Yeah.
"Okay, let's try to build."
Mike Hall had the best game, we won't get too much into that. He had a good game. Again,
Yeah, probably
another
the
young
one of the
talent.
one of the better games of his career.
Amazing to
Uh,
see the young talent on defense. And he'll probably get better as the season goes on, even though there's a couple games left
I
because, I
was just gonna
mean,
say
he wasn't playing the
people have
first
to
half.
remember too, he's been disappointing this year, but he got injured and needed to have surgery in the very last game of last season. So, in the preseason predictions, I said it wasn't gonna be until, like, late November that he started looking himself again, and now he's starting to look himself,
Yeah.
and he's starting to look like the future other piece with Graham. They unfortunately do a lot of the same stuff, so it will be important that somebody like Malik Collins come back or they find another big body that can do some things, but, like, having 2 young defensive linemen is positive. Plus, just knowing that Andrew Berry probably got that pick right is feels nice.
Yep. We're gonna move on to Corey Bojorquez. The reason why I want to talk about Corey is because he's on a track of like Miles breaking a record, like Fannin breaking a record. Corey Bojorquez is on track for breaking his own single season punt record of 89 that was set last year. He's at 80 currently, 80 punts. So I'm saying he'll probably break that. He'll probably get 90, 95. Just to let you guys know, the record for Browns most punts ever is 108, and that was Chris Kardaki in 2000. I don't think he's gonna get there unless the
Cool.
Browns really suck these next couple of games where they have to punt 10 times. But, yeah, great, and a lot of people are saying that he's kind of, falling back as far as his leg is concerned, and then I look at he has 300 and how many punts? I just wrote this I had this written down. He has like 317 punts in his career as a Brown. That's a lot, man. That puts him top 5 as a Brown. He's only been with us for 4 seasons. So we've been punting a lot, man. We've been
But
punting so much that
yeah,
I'm actually looking up stats for my punter. That's how much the punt has been impactful. Also, too, because I was thinking of our special teams and how much they suck. But shout out to Corey. Thanks for punting and making something more, more fun. That the We're gonna go into another segment of ours, the polls. We put a poll up this week of the blame game. The blame game is brought to you by the bearded bastard barbecue sauce. So let's The blame game brought to you by the Bearded Bastards barbecue sauce. Man, say that 3 times fast. And you get 15% off if you use the code bearded15 on their website. First one on X, we put up this question. Well, Cleveland fans, it's time to play the weekly Browns blame game. Who do you give the highest amount of blame for the loss to yesterday's loss in Chicago? And of course, it's Kevin. Kevin with 52.
always I
Oh,
think it's been Kevin every week from the fans for, like,
cool.
6
Done.
weeks straight or something
They're
like.
they're over Kevin. So Kevin wins that one. I put it on on Facebook on our page, Bearded Browns. Follow us on that also. Who's to blame for the loss against?
Way more, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin was at fifth. Actually, it's about the same. Yeah, it was 52. It was actually, believe it or
Oh.
not, it was 52% here. So yeah,
Oh,
about
okay.
the same. But it's just a lot more votes. It looks like a lot more,
I was gonna say,
which
it
is
looks like it's
yeah.
80% Kevin, not I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what
So,
wrong.
Kevin, you are to blame, and because of that, you're fired.
It all
Well,
falls
we're
on the
gonna
coaches.
see. We're gonna
Uh,
see what's gonna happen at the end of the year. But Kevin, again, I think that's his second or third consecutive blame game of the
like I said, if
week
it
award.
happens, I I look at the Browns and I don't think our number 1 problem is Kevin, but if it happens, I think after 2, 3 win seasons,
And offensive
nobody's gonna
output.
be like, "Crazy move." It's just not good enough. My worry about firing Kevin, uh, had a lot to do with, well, then you have to start over with all of your coaches pretty much, and
Yeah.
also, we always assume the next guy coming in will be better, but that just hasn't consistently been the case. So, I don't trust this group to hire the right people in, and I've heard this a lot lately, and I wasn't sure if it was just me, um, my own negativity, but I've heard it now from guys like Russ Tucker and Dan Orlovsky and, like, people that are very like, don't have any, I think I heard it from Jake Burns this week too, maybe. I've heard it from a lot of people that don't have a grudge against Kevin or aren't homers for the Browns or whatever, is that the highlight list of coaching candidates this year is a lot like last year's quarterback class. It's just not the year you really want a head coach.
Yeah,
because there aren't
a lot.
and they're not saying, like, nobody out there that'll get hired will be good. It was just there's often a guy like Ben Johnson where everyone agrees,
Mm.
yeah, there's this guy is not only good at offense, but is just really good with people and organization. Like, there's just not as many high-ranking head coach candidates this year. Last year, a lot of people were like, last year, I love Mike Vrabel, and like if if that was the year you made the decision, I don't think he would have stayed here. But like higher coaching candidates when you're like Vrabel, Johnson, etc. And this is
Yeah.
not one of those years. So I could see the Browns being like, we may have a limited amount of coaches that would want into this. So there's not great coaching options available. The best one probably doesn't want to walk into Shador Sanders and Andrew Berry and a 3-win team when there's probably a much better opening that's with a much better reputation. So that's why I'm on the I don't know if it will happen, but the only coach I'm definite that they shouldn't come back with is Bubba Ventrone, and everybody else, I just don't
And can
know.
you justify keep bringing back Kevin and him getting rid of another coach after getting rid of an OC, offensive line coach, and then giving up play calling again
Yeah, that
to
doesn't bother
Tommy?
me. Here's why. Here's the only reason I would say I'm okay with that because I think the person who gave up play calling is the same person that will be play calling for us next year, since that's not the guy we're getting rid of.
Yeah.
Last year, didn't it feel like I think we talked about it. It kind of felt like he gave up play calling almost to prove like, guys, there is no
No, I
this
can do it
offense
about this.
sucks. Yeah, our quarterbacks suck and this offense sucks. And it's not because I'm calling it, it's because there is no way
No,
to call this offense
yeah, this
this
line is
group.
horrible.
This year
Uh,
felt like I'm giving up play calling to Tommy Reese because I think he's kinda got something that might bail us out, and so I'm okay with that. Um,
I
I
got
think
a
they need to bring
couple
in a
people
better
that
run schemer, a better run game coordinator, or
Earl
somebody
said,
that's gonna get them to
Bien
get better.
Kajetti, or suggest he just signed a contract with Indiana. I don't think he's going anywhere. Freeman would be interesting from the Notre Dame. I would be interested in that.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't know what's going on with Bieniemy, man. I feel
Yeah,
like
I just
every
don't look
year,
at any of those guys and go,
yeah,
"Great." I mean,
yeah,
Bieniemy's been interviewed for head coaching
eight
jobs, like,
eighty times.
5
That's what I'm
straight
saying.
years where he interviewed with everybody, and no one hired him coming off of
Yeah,
Kansas City's Super Bowls. It's hard for me to believe that's better than Kevin
yeah,
Stefanski, like,
I agree. A
eh,
couple names I would go to the Rams under Sean McVay. Give me Chris Shula. Let me interview Mike LaFleur and
I
Aubrey
like
Pleasant.
LaFleur. The
Let me
problem is, though, like,
interview all
you
th
look at
3
Mike
of those.
LaFleur, and don't you think somebody like Mike LaFleur, just given his name and reputation,
He can go
don't you
anywhere he
think
wants.
there's a better job
Yeah.
available for Mike LaFleur?
Depending if he likes the quarterback, right? So if he likes Shador or they say, "I'll come, but you have to draft said quarterback if you're in the position to," of
Like,
course.
and we've seen some of the flashes from Short, but do you think Shador like, do you think there's any coach in the league
No.
that's like, "I gotta get to Cleveland to coach Shador"? I
That's
just
that
don't.
I talked about this on my show Friday. Like I said, the only way I think Shador stays is if Kevin stays too.
That's
Because
a
I agree
possibility.
with what you just said. I don't think a coach who's taking his first coaching job ever, maybe a vet who's desperate to get another job, like McCarthy, whatever. I don't see a rookie coach coming in and being like, "I'm not gonna stamp my name on this guy. I want my
If
own guy."
a rookie coach is gonna come in here 5 months before the draft and say, "Guys, you got the 3rd draft pick, you better get me a quarterback.
Exactly.
You
And
better
that's
trade
why
both of those picks, and you better
exactly.
bring me in a quarterback." And even if, we've said a long time, like, we think Kevin likes Sanders more than other people think. We think there's some question, I don't know how much, but I think he likes him more than other people think. I think Barry liked him enough to draft him. I don't think that
Barry
was an
likes him a
owner's move.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
Barry
think that's
likes him
an
a lot.
owner's move. I think the way I see Barry interacting with him ever since
There's yeah.
preseason
Keep
tells me
talking.
Barry cares
Sorry.
about this kid. But what I don't think you can do is say, "We're keeping Barry, we're keeping Sanders. Now, hey, good coaches, come in here and fit in." That's not gonna fly for the best coaching candidates.
So a guy by the name of Boogie Knight, who's connected to the Shador family, said this on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Shador and Coach Prime both fell in love with Mr. Barry. They built a great relationship. As it got later in the process, the conversations they were having with Barry made them feel a lot better. Like, oh, maybe this is where we need to be. So when I say if Barry stays and Kevin is gone, Barry's going to find a coach that's going to say, if you want this job, you got to develop him. That's my take on it. He's going to sit
And
there.
I would
That's the
be worried
ultimatum.
about that because I would
Exactly.
be worried that somebody like Mike
100%.
Vrabel, level
100%.
candidate, would be like, "Then no, I'm gonna go to the Raiders who have said I can pick my
Whoever I want.
quarterback and I can pick my
And that is
coaches
the
and I."
problem with this exactly, and that's why when people say, "Get John Gruden, get these like, these guys won't come here because the way it's constructed is you're not gonna make any the big decisions because we have an archy of order that's awkward. We have to sit around the campfire and all come in agreement in order for an agreement to be made,
Yeah, and
and
you
that's
remember
why
that's the reason that's the reason not Mike McDaniel, McDaniels from, the Patriots. Um,
well, yeah, John wait, yeah, McDaniels. I forgot his first name. Yeah,
whatever.
Patriots OC.
Josh
Yeah,
McDaniels. So
Josh, yeah.
Josh McDaniels, the reason he doesn't have this job because, Jimmy Haslam loved him is because he
Yes.
said, "If I come in, I wanna be the final decision maker," and they said, "That's not how
Nope.
we run things
That's not how
here,"
we
and he
do it
said,
here.
"Okay, see ya." So they loved him, they wanted him, he agreed to take the job. He's not here because he's not going to be somewhere where the owner makes decisions or where they make group decisions. He wants to be, and if you're going to get the best candidates, that's often what you're gonna get.
Yep.
They have Kevin who is okay in this group situation,
Because
allegedly.
he's willing to fall back and be like, "All right, you can make that decision. All right, you can make
In
that. I'll
most
listen. I'll listen."
organizations,
Yeah.
when you're hiring a guy like Sean McVay got hired, if the Sean McVay got hired and he's not the GM, but he said, "I want this quarterback, make it happen," and they traded half their franchise to get their quarterback
And it worked out. It
because
worked
one of
out
their quarterbacks
beautifully for
said, "I
him.
need this quarter." Yeah, and it's because they traded everything for that quarterback and he didn't get hurt, he played. If he had gotten hurt or massages, they'd be in the same situation as us because they gave up so much.
I had to look back at my
Gotta
wall 'cause my dude, Ethan, Mike. Oh, it was Mike. Mike, do you think we bring the 4th helmet back, we would win again? The 4th helmet has the number on it. I was like 1930s. I don't know. So no, we won't win with any helmet. We need a quarterback in order to win. It
yeah,
doesn't
not
matter what
out.
helmet's on there. It's not gonna help. Yeah, so that's it, man. That's all the show. That's all we have for today. We went a little over because we were talking about Kevin. That was actually a good unplanned conversation, Chad. That was
Yeah,
fire.
sometimes
Um,
it falls like that.
yeah, sometimes it falls like that. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for coming in the chat. Listen, we'll be here every Tuesday, 7:30. If you like the show, we do have a Saturday show with 4 guys talk. It's a little different show.
Oh my
More
god, it's
laid
so much
back.
better than this show.
Yeah, it's more funny. It's more laid back. They have conversations that are not
It's
PFF
not
driven.
right after a loss.
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
before a loss.
Yeah. So they kind of break down the game before. They're going to break down a Buffalo game. And they kind of just, they talk about a little more lax. Me and Chad, I think we're a little more lax this time. We didn't go into too deep, but trust me, if you look at my screen, I got 2 sheets of numbers I could have went into about Shador, but we talked about Shador
We
enough, so
like
I had to
numbers
move
too much.
on.
We need Mike to balance out because we
Yeah,
both
Mike.
like numbers and
Mike.
grades way
Yeah.
too much.
That was my biggest
But
worry, actually. I was like, man, me and Chad, we're gonna be like 2 math teachers talking math.
here's
People
my
aren't gonna
PFF scores, and he's like, "Here's the rush win
Yeah.
rate about."
Here's the
Like,
EPI. Here's the I was worried about that. But it worked out. It worked out like it always does. Hey, I may be doing the show this Friday, so tune in. I actually am going to talk about Jerry Judy a little bit and the fall from grace that he has been.
oh yeah,
I'm going to talk about the 2 talented spots that we have on this team. Stay tuned for that. And I will talk also, maybe I'll hit up Kevin and a little bit of Shador. The Typical Browns podcast this Friday. I normally go live at 7. So
and
tune in for
hey, if
that.
you guys are around tomorrow and bored, I'm hopping on the dog chug because they're
Oh,
having their
again, I'll be
special
watching.
where they bring back each of the guests for just a quick 10-minute chug. And, so I'm just going on to do a quick 10 minutes with them as, like, one of the returning guests for their Christmas chug extravaganza.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. It's a good show. It's different, entertaining. So tune in. I'll definitely tune in. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, it's 10 a.m. Sorry. I keep on saying 10:30 for some reason because we start at 7:30. 10 a.m. Saturday. Mike, Sam, Gary, and our new guy. Forgot him. See, not good with names. The new guy. I'm just going just the new guy. That's his name. He actually opened our show. Tune in. It's going to be a fun show. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. Like, subscribe. Listen, go to Spotify and go follow us and stream the show. We're funneling people there. If you could go support us on Spotify, that would be great. Logan is his name. Thanks, Mike. Until next time, we'll see you next week. Hopefully with the win over Buffalo, even though we're 10-point underdogs. Go Browns.
Go Browns.